Rheingans. Your referee is Scott Ladoon. First look at Pete. We've seen Brad Rheingans a few times. We all know about Brad Rheingans. He's got the almost perfect combination of power, speed, wrestling knowledge, and agility. Brad Rheingans, a true specimen. A man can just plain go.
Tremendous power, Larry. I've worked out with the young man. He has different techniques than quite a few other wrestlers, and the way he works out, uses a 250-pound log. It's about, let's say, 4.5 feet long, and it just can barely get your arms around it. He works out with it by throwing it up and turning it over and practicing his suplexes with it. So, different technique of working out.
Did you ever see a movie called Vision Quest about the high school wrestler? Yeah, when you mention that log, get a chance to see that movie. Tremendous movie. And look at the agility.
Beautiful fireman carry. Can't cut this Pistol Pete short, though. He's a big man, like 275 pounds.
Yeah, I blew it on his weight. I introduced him at 248. I was thinking of Rheingans. But he goes about 275. Now look at this. Look at this. He tried a very nice move, and Brad just reached over and tied him up.
Tied him up and went into a bridge. He can't turn Brad. He's got that ankle blocked. Good technique by Pistol Pete.
You know, when you sit here and you watch Brad Rheingans make maneuvers like this, you don't notice it, but you and I have talked about it before. At times, he looks a lot like the Crusher with some of those moves.
He definitely does. Built a lot like the Crusher. The Crusher from Milwaukee.
Brad Rheingans has a center of balance.
Oh, look at that. Beautiful.
There's the amateur background.
Hook the arm and then with a kick sweep type hip lock. Now a side headlock with a takeover. You can see the great bounce of Brad Rheingans right there. Pistol Pete tried to roll him over onto his shoulders, and just no way could he move him.
Nowhere to go.
Tremendous power in Brad Rheingans.
Well, like we said before, the total package. The agility, the amateur background, the speed, the power. The man can just plain wrestle in just about any form you want. Coaching background.
Great coach. First coach to bring a gold medal to the United States, a Greco-Roman team. Helped coach Jeff Blatnick.
Well, now who's going to get the advantage?
Pistol Pete tried to go for a hip lock. Brad blocked it and hip locked old Pistol Pete. Front face lock.
Oh, look at the awesome force on that hold. Concentration, both wrestlers. Now look at Rheingans turn it on.
Oh, whoa, neck breaker.
One. Well, they got a couple.
What kind of boots are those that Pistol Pete has on?
I don't know.
Talked about the Long Riders boots in the past, but that's a little different set.
Well, he calls himself Apache Pistol Pete, and I think that's some sort of an extended moccasin type boot, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that does. I can't, how the rest of the outfit goes with it, I don't know.
Well, he could use a new tailor. He'll get around that. But right now, he's got Rheingans in a body. Ledoux on it, gets to the 3 count. Oh, now the thumb.
Right in the eye.
Now, there's one thing we haven't mentioned about Brad Rheingans yet. That's his temper.
When he loses it, look out.
Deep to the fingernails. There's the elbow. Now, this is a nerve hold that I'm going to admit I don't know the name of.
I think he's got a choke on him because the referee is calling for the break. Well, Pete says it's not a choke. The referee checked it, and it is not. You're right, Larry. I'm sorry.
Well, he's got the thumbs buried into the
trapezius muscle.
Yeah. Got a 2 count, 2.5. Well, look at Scott Ladoux get in there and check that constantly, making sure we don't have a choke. You can hear him grunt as he tries to talk out of that thing.
Could be a form of a sleeper hold there.
Well, I tell you, it's taking a tremendous toll. Look at this.
I can't really tell from our position here where he's got those thumbs embedded, but it could be in the carotid artery. There's a good shot of it, and that's where it is.
Our camera crew getting right in there for us.
Tough way to put the sleeper hold on, but it could be effective. Brad had to get to his feet to get out of this thing.
I don't think he can hold Brad on a thing like that. No.
Oh, beautiful drop kick. That's all leg power, Larry, coming from the standing position. Pistol Pete right back on it, though. I don't know if Brad can get out of this one or not.
Well, he seems to want Brad to submit. Now, I would think he would be trying to knock him out with this thing, and we can see it.
He could have him. He's got it. Yeah, he's got it on the carotid artery. He must have, because Brad looks like he's losing consciousness here.
Well, they got it. Elmadou breaks that one up. Wherever he has it, he's taking a tremendous toll on Brad Rheingans. Brad's a strong
Brad looks like he's choking here.
Right back on that hole. Wait, he doesn't have it on the rope. That looks pretty good. Into the rope.
Oh! Did you hear that boot? Hello, Pistol Pete.
Well, now they're both stunned. And let's see who's going to be able to handle it.
Brad looks like he hurt a knee.
Well, he's had trouble with that knee, and yet he's going to try to put on, what is he going to do? Is he going for a pile driver? I don't think I've ever seen Brad use a pile driver. Head cracker. Yeah, I think he did hurt his knee.
Yeah, he's limping a little bit on it. You know, he's just coming off of surgery on that thing at the hands of Boris Zukov. And next week, our main event's going to be Brad Rheingans against Boris Zukov. Should be a dandy.
Boy, you hate to see Brad showing any signs of trouble with that knee today. Well, Apache Pistol Pete is going to sit outside and think about it for a while. Here he is. I thought he had Brad in big trouble there for a while with that whatever it was.
It was some kind of a, like I said, it must have been a form of the sleeper hold that he had on him, because that's the only way that he could get Brad going the way he did. Oh, a headbutt into the midsection. Now Brad following up. Look at the strength of Brad Rheingans. Oh, and now a side suplex. Beautiful.
That might do it.
Leg, look, that's it. There's your winner, Brad Rheingans. Next week, our main event, Brad Rheingans to meet Boris Zukov. And Larry, I'm sure you want to capture Brad up there for an interview and talk about that match coming up next week.
The victory for Brad Rheingans over Apache Pistol Pete. Where are you, Bradley? Come here. Greg Gagne and I were trying to figure out what was that hold that he was putting on you. Where did he have you?
I just got to say one thing, Larry. I underestimated my opponent this time. I usually never do that. I'm thinking too far ahead. I've only got one person on my mind, and that's Boris Zukov. That's not Sheik Adnan El Casey, not the Barbarian. It's Boris Zukov, alone in the ring with me. Zukov, you've been running around, running your trap in this country, telling everybody how you did a number on me on ESPN. Well, Zukov, you put me out of wrestling, but you made one mistake. You didn't put me out of wrestling for good. And if you think you gave me a beating, Zukov, when I get you in that ring, you're going to need more than hospital to get that knee back in shape.
One quick question. Now, I know you and Boris Zukov, the main event next week right here on ESPN, you seem to be favoring the knee a little tonight.
Well, the knee is just about 100% right now, Larry. The only thing I'm worried about is Sheik Adnan El Casey. Every time the going gets tough, Sheik Adnan El Casey seems to get involved, seems to be paying everybody off, seems to be thinking that's the way you get to the top. Well, you don't get to the top by money. You get to the top by hard work, a lot of years of wrestling, a lot of experience, a lot of wrestling, the best people in the world. And Zukov, I'm coming for you for one reason. That's to take you out of wrestling.
Next week,